What's going on, everyone? Captain Horn here. Welcome back to another Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 video. I hope you enjoy watching and maybe even learn a thing or two from this video. Before we begin, if you would like to see more Microsoft Flight Simulator content, please consider subscribing to my channel. It takes less than 5 seconds and it would greatly help my channel out. If you are interested in supporting myself and my channel, be sure to check out the different tiers in my Patreon for different rewards. If you are interested in becoming an active member in my community, or would like to find others to fly with in Microsoft Flight Simulator, feel free to join my Discord. The link to both my Patreon and Discord are in the description. Let's get right into this video. Before you watch this video, please look at my Getting Started in Vatsim video on my channel. There you can learn about connecting to the Vatsim servers and other important information about Vatsim. After you watch that video, come back to this video. It will still be here, I promise. In today's video, we will be going over receiving clearances in Vatsim. This is the first of many tutorials regarding Vatsim, so be on the lookout for more Vatsim tutorials in the future. By the end of this series, you should feel totally comfortable with speaking with air traffic control and doing full flights both VFR and IFR on Vatsim. To start off, Vatsim is not as complicated as it may seem. It is, however, a steep learning curve and mistakes will be made, but once you get the hang of it, it can be a repetitive process that you only get better and better at each time. Now let's talk about the different flight rules you can use. There is only two that we should be worried about. They are IFR and VFR. IFR is Instrument Flight Rules, which is what every commercial airline flight uses. IFR, of course, pays a lot of attention to the instruments of the aircraft and is used when conditions are not great, for instance rain and cloud cover. Instrument flight rules give the towers a lot of control over the aircraft, and you must do as they say when flying IFR. VFR is a lot more simple. This stands for Visual Flight Rules, and as you can imagine, uses the pilot's own vision. This is very common in general aviation aircraft like a Cessna Skyhawk. VFR offers much more freedom to the pilot when compared to IFR, because the air traffic controllers do not dictate every aspect of your flight. VFR is also much easier to use in Vatsim. In this video, we will focus on clearances using IFR flight. Alright, starting off at the very bottom and lowest level air traffic controller. These guys are what is called the clearance delivery. These guys give you clearance to your destination and is the first person you will contact while sitting at the gate after you just spawned in. Let's take an example. Say I have this route which was generated using SimBrief. This is a simple and short route from Charlotte, North Carolina to Atlanta, Georgia. We will be doing this IFR. To begin, I would listen to the ATIS frequency if one is available, which usually if there is someone on, there is always an ATIS. While listening to the ATIS, I would remember or write down the information I have. At the end of each ATIS, the automated voice will say something like, "You have information Alpha," or Bravo, or Charlie, or Delta, etc., etc. Make sure you note the letter of the alphabet that the ATIS gives you. Then I would tune to the clearance delivery person and simply say, "Charlotte Delivery, my call sign, requesting IFR clearance to Atlanta with information Mike," or whatever the ATIS gave me. Now the clearance delivery is going to come back and say this: "My call sign, Charlotte Delivery, cleared IFR to the Atlanta airport via the Bobsey 4 departure, Tinsley transition, then as filed. On departure, maintain 5,000 feet. Expect flight level 320 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 120.5, squawk 8734. Now, that seems like a lot, but it really is not, I promise. Let's break down this clearance. We have a wonderful acronym known as CRAFT. The acronym stands for C for clearance limit, R for route, A for altitude, F for departure frequency, and T for transponder, also known as your squawk. First, we get cleared to the IFR to the Atlanta airport via the Bobsey 4 departure, Tinsley transition, then as filed. This is simply the clearance limit that I received. We are going to the Atlanta airport, which I was cleared to, then via the Bobsey 4 departure is simply the SID that we will follow, and the Tinsley transition is our transition as filed in our route. The then as filed part is stating the rest of our plan without having to read it all out. In the next part, the clearance delivery says, "On departure, maintain 5,000 feet." This is stating our departure altitude and is what we should hold at right after takeoff until cleared to a higher altitude. This altitude depends on the airport, but will be around 5,000 to 8,000 feet the majority of the time. The expect flight level 32010 minutes after departure is stating that after 10 minutes, we should start ascending to our cruise altitude, which in this case is flight level 320 or 32,000 feet. 99% of the time, the departure controller will clear you. The next part is our departure frequency, if one is online. This is notifying us ahead of time of what frequency we will be talking to after departure. If departure is offline, the clearance delivery will say departure offline. The last part is our squawk code. This is the transponder code you will need to put in. This is so the tower has radar contact on your aircraft. After we listen to our clearance, we need to read it back. So, simply read back the clearance, which would sound something like this. My call sign is cleared to the Atlanta airport via the Bobsey 4 departure, Tinsley transition then as filed. On departure, we will maintain 5,000 feet and expect flight level 32010 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 120.5, squawk 8734. Now, if you do not feel like reading all that back, you can just read back the squawk code. That's it. You are not required to read back anything else other than the squawk code. I'm not saying to do this all the time, because the tower will really appreciate it if you do read back the entire clearance. Reading back the entire clearance also increases the realism of the entire experience. After you read back your clearance, the clearance delivery may say something along the lines of, my call sign, read back correct, push and start at your own discretion, contact ground on 121.9er when ready for taxi. This is the clearance delivery telling you that your readback was correct. If it was incorrect, they would let you know what was wrong, and you would read back that part only. Push and start at your own discretion just means that you can push back and start your engines whenever you would like, and whenever you are ready for taxi, to contact ground on 121.9er. In the next video, I will be going over taxiing. Now for some tips. Tip number 1. Do not be scared. These controllers will understand if you have trouble and will help you out. Everyone is scared when talking to the towers. Practice will get rid of the anxiety. Tip number 2. Have a pen and paper ready. Unless you have an eidetic memory, I don't know how you will remember the entire clearance. Only write down the important stuff. You should already know your route. Write down the departure altitude, departure frequency, and squawk code. If you forgot to write it down and don't know what to say, you can always only just read back the squawk code. Tip number 3. Hop on the frequency and listen to others receiving clearance to embed in your head what a full clearance sounds like. Tip number 4. Vatsim works in a top-down fashion. This means if ground is on, but clearance delivery is not, then you would contact ground for the clearance. If the center controller is on, but no one else is on, you would contact the center for clearance. Always contact the lowest level that is on at the time. And tip number 5, my final tip is that if you would like to practice, join my Discord, and I will be happy to help you out and let you practice with me being the clearance delivery. The link to my Discord is in the description. Now, let's head into the game and use the same route from the example and receive a clearance. Okay guys, we're now in the simulator, and I am actually not going to use that route that I did using the example, but it's not going to change much at all. All it's going to change is the departure airport and the SID that I will be using. So we're sitting here at Cleveland, and this is the only airport in the United States when I'm filming this that has a delivery on right now. And they're sitting right up here. Not really. It's just fun to think that. Anyway, what we need to do is get power to the aircraft just like that. And we need to actually look at some vPilot stuff. And after we connect, then we are in here, and we now see we have clearance delivery down here and the ATIS. Now, first, I have actually wrote down a bunch of things. I don't know how well you can read that, but they say I have ATIS, and then the two little dots, to write, and then call sign, which I've written down because obviously I know my own call sign is going to be Delta 623, and I put VIA, and that's going to be my SID, which today is going to be the Cavs 4 departure. The transition is going to be APE, and I wrote down maintain because the tower is going to give me a maintain, and then frequency is going to be the departure frequency that I will write down. And I can go ahead and tell you departure is going to be offline because we don't see one right here in approach departure. And then I have squawk, which I'm also going to write down. Alright, and I just pulled my route from SimBrief, and this is our route right here, so here's the Cavis 4. And another tip is generally your transition is always going to be the very next waypoint, so the Ape transition, and then like the Andre 1 into Atlanta with the Harley transition, like that. But anyway, what we want to do first is actually listen to the ATIS system. So I'm going to tune 127.85 in my radio down here. So we want 127.85, and there we go. And let's listen to it.
Station call. Cleveland Hopkinson Airport ATIS information golf 18510.
Information golf.
1030 at 17. Visibility 10. Few clouds at 4,500. Temperature 15. 2.4. Altimeter 3025. ILS 6 left approach and use RNP approach available en route with landing runway 6 left, departing runway 6 left. Closed. Runway 10. 28 closed. North is 2 airmen. Operate transponder in altitude reporting mode on all taxiways and runways. Caution bird activity vicinity airport. Read my call runway hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information golf.
So there we heard at the end right there, you have information golf again, which is what I wrote down. We have information golf. And we also heard in there the winds, the temperature, the current conditions, bird activity in the area, and the current active runway is 6 left. So those are all very important to listen to, and we can expect to depart out of runway 6 left. Okay guys, now that we got the ATIS information, what we need to do is fill in our flight plan via vPilot. And in order to do this, all we have to do is come up here to vPilot, go up to flight plan, and we're going to fill in some stuff here. And I recommend using SimBrief, as this will make it a lot easier, and just have it pulled up just like this. Alright, starting from the top, flight type, we want IFR. You can do VFR if you want, but this video is going to be IFR, and I'm going to get an IFR clearance. Departure airport's pretty obvious. You type in the ICAO code for your departure, and destination airport, for me it's going to be Atlanta, Georgia. Alternate, don't worry about filling in. You can if you want. Same way with departure time. You can fill that in if you want, but they're really not going to get onto you for it. Time en route is shown right here in SimBrief, so 2 hours exactly. Fuel available, it's another one you don't really have to fill in. Cruise speed, you also really don't have to fill in at all. Cruising altitude is going to be 36,000 feet. SimBrief will show you your cruising altitude if you hit this. Let me select the airframe and then hit the generate OFP. We can go ahead and do that, but I'm pretty certain it's going to give me 36,000 feet. Just like that. And okay, I was wrong. Flight level 340. So that's what I'm going to type in. 34,000, not FL. 340. Just type in the full number. Cruise speed, again, you really don't have to worry about it. I mean, if you're in an Airbus, you can put like 450 knots, true airspeed, and that's generally what we cruise at. Alright, route is really easy. All you have to do is copy all this right here and paste it into your route. And I like to sometimes just put my destination at the end and my departure at the beginning, just like that. Remarks you don't have to worry about. These are just things that the air traffic controllers are going to see whenever they are viewing your flight plan. And if you're new and nervous or something, you can put in the remarks like, I'm new, don't go hard on me, or something like that. But I'm not going to put anything in it. And then finally we have voice. We can send and receive, receive only, or text only. Now obviously I will be sending and receiving, but if you don't have a mic, you can check receive only, and then you'll have to type in the actual chat box. Or you can do text only, which the tower is going to text you and you're going to text them. So I'm going to hit send and receive. And one other important thing is this equipment suffix up here. Now all commercial airliners are L Lima, And equipment suffixes are another video, but if you're in an Airbus or a 747 or 787, it's going to be L. Heavy aircraft, we don't want to check this if you're in an Airbus, but you do want to check it if you're in a 747 or a 787. So after we've got all this filled out just like this, we can go ahead and hit this File Flight Plan, just like that, and it'll say Flight Plan Filed just like that. Alright, next what we want to do is actually receive the clearance. So I know for a fact that I'm going to be going up to 34,000 feet, so I can expect him to say something like Delta 623 cleared IFR to the Atlanta airport via the cabs for departure, 8 transition then is filed. On departure, maintain maybe 5,000 feet. Expect flight level 340, 10 minutes after departure. Departure offline and squawk for numbers. A squawk code is always 4 numbers. Alright, so let's go ahead and get that clearance. All I'm going to say is Delta 623 requesting IFR clearance to Atlanta. And we're going to listen to him, and I'm going to write down what I hear. Delta 623 requesting IFR clearance to Atlanta Airport.
Delta 623, Cleveland delivery, clearance on request, standby number 1, please.
Copy, Delta 623. Alright, so he just said to stand by and that I am number 1, so I guess he's having issues because there's literally nobody else on the network right now, so sometimes you just gotta wait for them to give your clearance.
2 hours later.
Delta 623, you got your clearance advisor already, copy.
Ready to copy, Delta 623.
Delta 623, cleared to Atlanta International Airport via the cab for departure, Appleton transition, then as filed. Climb via SIT, expect flight level 350, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 134.9er, squawk 7455.
Alright, Delta 623 is cleared to the Atlanta airport via the cabs for departure, 8 transition, then as filed. We will climb via SID and expect flight level 350, 10 minutes after departure. Departure is on 134.9er, and we will squawk 7455.
Delta 623, read back correct. Call Cleveland ground 121.7 when ready for push and start.
121.7 when ready for push and start, Delta 623. Okay, so everybody, as you saw, it took him a while to get on frequency. I've been sitting here for about 5 minutes, but we can expect that sometimes. Now there was something different in there. 99% of the time they were going to tell you to maintain 5,000 feet, expect flight level 350, 10 minutes after departure. But this time he said climb via SID, which means I will climb via the SID chart, and it's pretty simple. You got to look at the departure chart for this cabs 4 SID, and it'll give you certain altitude restrictions to be at. But also he gave me flight level 350, which is correct. He corrected me there. I made a mistake, and we should not be flying at 34,000 feet because we are going to be heading kind of east, and anytime you fly east you do want an odd number. So he was correct in giving me 350, and then I wrote down squawk 7455, and our frequency he gave us was 3.4 decimal niner, which okay, he just gave me the center controller frequency for departure. Okay, and that's the top down. That's a good example of the top down procedures. So at this point I would contact ground on 121.7 and get a taxi, but that is for another video. So this is going to do it for this first video on Vatsim clearances, and there's going to be, the next video is going to be taxiing, and then eventually departing and en route, and then approach and landing. So be on the lookout for those. If you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. Don't forget I do have my Patreon and Discord. Links are in the description. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you on the next video.